My PowerPoint presentation on the book HRB's 10 Must Reads on Leadership. My name is Jeremy McWells, and of course, this is the University of Laverne's Leadership in the Future class, Business 586. And the authors of this particular chapter will be Ronald A. Heffett and Donald L. Laurie. Get right into it, guys. In the chapter overview, a few things are taking place here that I just want to go over really quick. HRB's 10 Must Reads, Heffett and Laurie analyze the various adaptive changes that companies face. These challenges are forcing organizations to establish clear values, develop strategy, and learn innovative ways of operating. Pretty much the way that a lot of companies are going about dealing with their adaptive challenges are not cutting it anymore. Really, you're looking at a situation where the market is changing, customers are changing, competition is changing, technology is evolving, and it's overall forcing companies to become better. Really, it comes down to breaking old habits in order to create new habits. And so executives, it's easy for an executive to get to their status, right? It's easy for an executive to reach their status by taking on the responsibility and dealing with the issues that need to be solved. Oftentimes, executives can't be the only ones that take on these challenges. It has to be an organization buy-in. It has to be a mentality shift. These new roles and relationships that need to take place come from those opportunities. Like I said, those new avenues come by those employees taking a hold of the responsibility and not just leaving it to the executive members. And really, the authors give 6 principles, adaptive principles, to deal with this particular issue. Getting on the balcony, identifying your adaptive challenge, regulating distress, maintaining disciplined attention, giving the work back to the employees, and lastly, protecting leadership voices from below. This picture, I am a huge Laker fan. The book uses Urban Magic Johnson to explain this principle of getting on the balcony, and pretty much uses Magic Johnson as an example on the way he approached the game, playing hard while keeping others involved, having a constant feel and a grasp of what's going on around him, almost like he's in a press box looking down below. Business leaders must have the same feel at the end of the day. They must be able to take it from the action and shift over to the balcony so you can be in the midst of what's going on, but at the same time take a step back and view what's going on around you. These viewing patterns that take place oftentimes give you some clues, such as the history of enterprise, the past success, and what may be able to work or maybe what doesn't work, and the market forces. And this is all really a prerequisite to understand principles that we're going to get into right now. And so the next one is going to be identifying the adaptive challenge. The book uses an example of chimps, leopards, and hunters. Chimps oftentimes have an easy time avoiding the leopard because they have a routine, a way of how to escape and how to come together to ultimately fight off or escape the leopard. But when a hunter comes in and hunts a chimp with a rifle, it kind of messes up all the routine that the chimps are used to. And the same thing was really happening with British Airways. At that particular point, they were known as the Bloody Awful Airline, and the goal was to become the world's most favorite airline at the end of the day. And so Marshall had to look at a few things. He had to look at what was going on the inside and out. And what I mean by this, he had to talk to people who were on the inside, like the flight crews and visiting the reservation centers, and asking the questions, well, whose values, beliefs, and attitudes and behaviors had to change in order for us to make a positive step forward. He saw conflicts as clues. Surface conflicts oftentimes seem just very surfacey, but there were so many underlying issues of values and norms that were taking place. He had to take note of that as well. Self-awareness, looking at yourself in the mirror. Marshall and his team embodied the exact dysfunction and adaptive challenge that he was trying to get rid of, and he had to understand that as well. Distress, and I love this picture to the right because it shows just an utter level of frustration. One of the lines in the chapter states, "People can only learn so fast." And what really needs to take place from leaders The solution must be given before the work is allocated. Employees cannot learn under a model where you give out the work before we even get to a goal. Leadership must balance people's feeling to make a change, and then at the same time not overwhelming the worker so they don't get to the point of what you see to the right of you. There are three fundamental tasks to maintaining productive tension, and number one is the holding environment, aka the pressure cooker. With a pressure cooker, it cooks the food and regulates the pressure. Leaders must create a similar environment where they have a temporary place where diverse groups of individuals can discuss assumptions, issues, debate aspects of the company, and it's in a healthy way. Direct, protect, orientate, manage conflict, shaping norms, all of that needs to take place. Leaders must manage the rate of change. People must be orientated into the new roles, exposing conflict and use it as a learning opportunity. All of these have to take place in order to maintain productive tension. And last but not least, probably the most difficult part of the job, leaders have to have the emotional capacity to deal with uncertainty, frustration, and pain. It's almost like leaders must have a poker face on. Adaptive work chart, and one of the examples I'll just use, direction, the typical situation, defining the problem and providing the solution. But the adaptive way of going about it is to identify the adaptive challenge and frame the key question and issues for future. Maintain discipline attention. And so diversity in a group isn't just ethnic and racial. Using the backgrounds of different employees to come up with innovative solutions is what it's all about at the end of the day. Addressing work avoidance, this is oftentimes a very dangerous part of a company. When dealing with adaptive work, employees can bring out negative outcomes, and a lot of times distractions can get in the way of dealing with these adaptive issues, such as scapegoating and denial and attacking individuals. And with scapegoats, it usually comes from external forces, heavy workload, and high. Giving the work back to the people. The expectation of senior management sometimes is to just take care of everything, but the employee must assume that greater responsibility, and through that organically will create a sense of accountability and ownership. There was an example in the book where a CEO literally took all the manuals and burned them right in front of the employees. This can oftentimes create a form of self-confidence to have the employee feel like he or she can go out into the workspace and be effective. Protecting voices of leadership from below, I should say. Giving a voice to all people is a foundation of an organization that is willing to experiment and learn. Those voices below need to be heard. And in the chapter, there's called, I named it David's Uprising, where a member of the team pretty much said what he had on his mind and what was correct at the wrong time, during the wrong time, in the wrong place. And oftentimes we have this urge to restore balance and to make things right. But there's a delicate balance that has to take place between management giving their employees that opportunity, and then also at the same time hearing them and see what they can contribute to the situation. Chapter takeaways. In the earlier chapter, there was a gentleman named Jack Pritchard, and during his doctor visit had to make a lot of lifestyle changes and adjustments. And all companies in the industry are facing these challenges and changes that need to take place. The value of these 6 principles, it's relatable, it's effective, and it's relatively simple. The company result, if one company can buy into this, they will see that you will never become stagnant at the end of the day, and you'll always be able to make a change. Leadership is every day. It cannot be the responsibility of just those who are in charge. It really does have to be a complete and total buy-in. References, guys, I use obviously the HBR's 10 must-reads on leadership. And I wanted to leave you guys with a quote. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got, by Henry Ford. Hey guys, thank you for paying attention to my PowerPoint. I truly appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing some great questions so I can answer them. And you guys have a great rest of the day or evening, depending on when you're watching this. And I look forward to speaking to all of you all soon.